Check 1 2, check 1 2. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Let me check and make sure because sometimes I forget my volume is up or down. And so let's see if we got it. All right. So it's Friday, guys. I want to apologize. Start off by apologizing. I might be a little parched right now because I just got back in the house from running. I decided to go at 10:30 and didn't realize I was going to take a 3.5 mile run, which took me almost 40 minutes to do that, which gave me about 10-15 minutes to get back here and get myself together. So I'm a little parched, but that's okay. We still here. We're gonna make it happen. Y'all know it is what it is. It's Friday, Circle Talk time, and I'm really excited for today's guest. I've known this person for a very, very long time. We used to run the streets on the hilltop, Al Davies Boys and Girls Club, late night at the YMCA. Y'all know what it is. We ran track together. I was on a different team. Obviously, she went to a different school. This stadium over here, she went to Lincoln. It is what it is. But we still family. We still, appreciate each other's drive and determination, our dedication to what it is that we are doing. She is a fitness guru. She loves to get out there and get her workout on. I see her all the time when I'm laying in bed and not wanting to get up. I see her working and she make me want to get up. So I had to get up and get work. She's an amazing person, and I'm excited to jump in and learn a little bit more about Zakiya Nicole, guys. So thank you guys for being here. It's going to be a great conversation. But before we get into our conversation, one thing that I want to do is send a shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to iShotTo.com. Obviously, if you're in the Tacoma, Lakewood, Pierce County area and you need your pictures taken, whether it's graduation, marriage, whatever the case may be, if you're just looking for headshots, my man Marvin Patterson, he does all of the shots for you. He'll meet you anywhere you want to go. He'll go and make sure that it works out for you. One of the best in the area. So definitely hit him up. He's got a great deal going on right now. Obviously, you see the 2 pictures of my daughters behind me. He took those and every other picture in my house. So iShotTo.com, hit him up. Also, brand new to the mix, Icon ENT, my good friend, Junior Thomas, has an event coming up on October 23rd. It's called the All Black Party. And yours truly will be doing interviews there for the All Black Party. So please make sure you guys look up October 23rd. It starts at 9 p.m. iShotTo.com and Icon ENT will be there. All Black Party going down here in Washington, Tacoma area. So any more information about that, hit up Junior Thomas and he'll get it to you. So without further ado, we're going to get into this interview. I don't want to keep her waiting too long. So welcome Zakiya Nicole to the building. How was it? How did it work? Did I do okay?
That was great. I'm so honored to be here. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you. Just there's a lot of movement going on back there. Just kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. We're gonna keep it real chill. All right.
I have a swivel chair, so it kind of let me sit still.
Swivels a little bit.
I'm antsy. I'm a very hyper person, so yeah. I move a lot. Yeah. So.
Hey, well, it's all good. I'm the same way. So if you see me bouncing around, it's just because that's me. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get used to it. So, Zakiya, what's been going on this morning?
Already this morning, quite a bit. Had a meeting for work and, doing interviews and all the stuff that I do for work, and that gets my paycheck and funds my side hustles and my passion projects. But, that's cool. It's been a great morning. The sun is shining and we're here. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Amen to that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. When I do my conversations with everybody, I really like to figure out where they come from. Obviously, we know each other pretty well, so I know a little bit about you. But why don't you tell the people that are watching exactly where you're from, how you were raised, all that good stuff.
That's quite a bit. So born and raised in Tacoma, Washington. So I was born in Fort Lewis at the old Madigan Hospital. to my the long hallway one, and was raised right off of 15th and Sprague, right in front of Peckfield Ballpark was where I grew up in my grandma's house. I was raised by my grandmother. My mom was 14 when she had me, wow. A student at Jason Lee. And has a middle school education. And she was selfless enough to allow my grandmother to raise me. And so I was raised off and on with my grandmother, who definitely gave me a lot of tough love, and she gave me my work ethic and all of those skills that I have today. Very strong woman. I love her and my mother both. And so it was just my grandmother and I, off and on. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. And so I saw quite a bit through my life and childhood, experienced quite a bit of trauma, a lot of stuff that folks shouldn't see and experience, but I think it also contributed to who I am. I spent time in foster care. My grandmother didn't want to be a grandma for a little bit, so I spent a year away and went to a home outside of my grandmother's house. And but, you know, I was raised in my grandmother's house for the most part. Went to Stanley Elementary School, went to Jason Lee Middle School. Al Davies became a part of my life in 3rd grade, thanks to a good childhood friend who's no longer with us, Chaz, who introduced me to Al Davies Boys and Girls Club, him and Jamie Thompson. And that just became my second home, thank God. Honestly, it introduced me to so many different things that I never would have saw. Aside from just getting me outside of my house. So from there, Jason Lee went to Lincoln High School, got involved in sports and theater. And very early, when I went to the Boys and Girls Club, I actually took my first side hustle. I started hustling pretty young. So at 9 years old, I went into the kitchen and said, hey, can I get some money to help you do these dishes? Instead of playing with the kids, I was in the kitchen doing dishes for $5 after dinner. And so that pretty much was my childhood. I mean, there was quite a bit that was in there, but, you know, the oldest of 5 kids, my mother, you know, started young, and thank God for my grandmother for being a rock for me and taking me in, and and just, you know, giving me some of the tools that I am able to pull from today. So I don't know. There's probably more. There's a lot more there, but I'll leave it there.
So family life was a little up and down-ish, you know, which we all kind of go through those times. So when looking back to those days when you got into high school, obviously high school was a big part of your life, right?
Right.
Thinking back to those days, what was the most beneficial part of your time in high school? I don't want to get all through each year. I don't want to go through it all. So what was something that you can think back to that said really made a huge effect in you continuing through and finishing your high school?
In high school, I think the one thing that I was super passionate about was sports. That definitely, I mean, when I realized and it actually started in middle school, I was a late athlete. Like, I didn't start sports until middle school. And so I think that became the thing that kept me in and kept me motivated and kept me going, was the fact that in order for me to compete, I had to do good in school, at least the bare minimum, and show up. But also, you know, my peers, and even though I was an athlete, I also was, you know, I did other things. I was in theater, I did, you know, music and dance. And so just keeping active and knowing that in order for me to do those things, I had to, you know, do good in school. And so those were motivators for me, to be quite honest. And also, you know, my mom, and seeing what the opposite of that could be. Like, I knew what it would get me if I didn't finish and if I didn't excel. And so that was something that motivated me, knowing what it was like to not, and see what it was like to not have an education. So that was something that was a motivator.
So when did you find out about Young Life?
So Young Life became a part of my life in I want to say it was my sophomore year in high school at Lincoln. I remember there was a group that met there, I think once a week. And I was like, oh, those are like the cool kids. What's happening in there? You know, what's this meeting? And so I believe, I don't know, I think we might have been too young, but it was myself and some of my friends. We showed up on a Monday night, I believe it was, and just started going from there and went faithfully, loved the people, loved, you know, the conversations, and the opportunities that are presented. Because of course there were always fun things happening and going to camp and all of those things. But, you know, spirituality, even though it wasn't pushed, it was definitely that underlying connector and foundation. And I didn't bring that up, but that definitely was a part of my life growing up. And so, and so that was something that I thought was really fun and a great way to connect with people. So it became a part of my life in 10th grade, I believe it was.
Did you ever go to?
Yes, we went to camp. We went to Seaside. You know, went down to Oregon. Went to Woodleaf in California one year. Yeah. I think there were a couple other like closer things that we did. Camp was a part of my life pretty much all from childhood. So I definitely took advantage of any time I could go get away and be in some woods and some trees and nature, you know. So
hey, I think we both went to Woodleaf the same year. And when I think back to it, I think we might have went the same year because I went a couple years in a row. And I think I went one year and you guys were there. We didn't go together, but we ended up there at the same time. I'm trying to think back when it was, but I think you guys might have been there.
I know I went. It was like 98 when I went.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking I might have been there. I don't know. I've been there a lot of times because I went there a couple of times as a camper, and then I went there to work too.
Right.
So, I was in it. I loved it. It got me away from, obviously, the hustle and bustle and all the crazy stuff that was going on the hilltop. Speaking of that, did you ever experience any of the, obviously, the gangs and the violence and all that stuff? Did you ever experience any of that?
I experienced it kind of by proxy because I had friends who were connected in some kind of way. I definitely am grateful that it wasn't something that was in my immediate family. And if it was, like, I met my dad later or built a relationship with my dad later in life. So if it was a part of their life, it wasn't something I experienced. But I definitely experienced it through friends, through my network, and saw the impact of it. I actually didn't even learn about gangs until later, until I want to say it was like 4th grade, actually Boys and Girls Club time, when I went there and was like, what do you mean I can't wear this color? I had no idea. I was completely oblivious to what that even was, until a friend, kind of schooled me on some of my things that I should be aware of. I was in a bubble, my grandmother was, not that she protected me, it just wasn't a part of my family dynamic or my immediate network until then. So,
which is so interesting when you think about where you grew up at. You said you were right across the street from Peck Field.
Exactly.
There was like right across the street on the other side of Sprague is where all of that stuff was going down.
Everything. It was. It was
interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I was in a bubble.
You was definitely in a bubble. I lived right across the street, and I know I was bobbing and weaving every time. It seemed like every other day I was bobbing and weaving from somebody getting wild and crazy out there.
Yeah. It was, I got hip. It just wasn't like, I was just like, oh, wow, I had no idea, And once I knew, like, once you know, you can't unknow and you can't unsee, so now you're a little bit more vigilant and recognizing different things. So, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about after high school. What did you end up doing after high school?
So after high school, I went to Highline actually for 1 year. I ran track there, played basketball for a short time. And I was 18, no direction, didn't really think about, the future. And it's interesting that it's so important, like the power of words, the power of labels, the power of seed planting and watering those seeds, because it was something that someone said to me in high school that kind of really derailed me. And I just was like, screw it. Why do I need to get good grades? I quit track. And really didn't care about a lot of things. And so when I hit 18, actually got kicked out of my grandma's house and went to Highline and realized that I needed to work. I actually got my own place. And worked and was at Highline. And then once I left Highline, I actually left after a year and just worked full time. And ended up in the fitness industry. So a lot of folks don't know I got certified to be a trainer at 20. But after I left Highline, I had my oldest son, who's now a senior in college. Woo woo. When I was working for 24 Hour Fitness, I was doing sales, got certified as a trainer, and was there for actually a couple years. And during my time there was when somebody said to me, you know, you have this dream of getting into the legal field, and it kind of reignited my passion for education. And I actually went back to school and got my associate's degree from Lake Washington in legal support, and actually worked in the legal field as a legal secretary, paralegal for about 8 years. And then, but during that time, I also recognized that I still wanted to learn more and I wanted to do more. And so went back to school again, got my bachelor's, and then eventually ended up getting a graduate level degree in education. So, yeah. And so after high school, I mean, you know, I kind of spent a lot of time learning and growing, and just kind of jumped right into the professional field and just went to work. That's all I know how to do. That's what I saw. You know, my grandma worked. And like I said, she kind of instilled that work ethic in me. And I just hit the ground running and started grinding and working and being a mom and being responsible for another life. And and that kind of spearheaded some of the things that I'm doing today, quite honestly, and some of the passions that I have.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So, let's talk about. I told you I was going to ask you about. When did you decide to compete as a fitness guru, model, all that?
So fitness has been a part of my life, you know, as we just talked about. And when I was working for 24 Hour Fitness, someone would always, this girl, she competed in bikini competitions, and she was like, you have to come do this competition with me. You have to do this. You'd be great. You'd be great. And I kind of brushed it off. Though I worked in the fitness industry, I always relied on my genetics, to be quite honest. And so it wasn't until my 30s when I recognized, or late 20s when I realized, like, I got to work to keep what I have, you know? And so I had this goal that I wanted to compete in a competition by the time I turned 30. Okay. And so then 30 hit and I still hadn't competed. And honestly, it was the fear of being judged, being on stage in a bikini, like all of those things that happens. And then I turned 30, I had another child, my youngest son. And after that, I was, wanting to compete at a higher level. And that's when I actually went into football and started playing football, semi-pro women's football. And I mean, you know, I like to compete. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it big. Like, where's the biggest place I can show up? That's where I'm gonna go. And so during that time, I was able to compete at a high level, retired from that. And I was like, what's next? And then I went back to the one thing that I said I wanted to do and hadn't done yet, and that was do a competition. And so that's what I did. I found a competition, found some meal plans, and just started working on my body and getting ready for the stage. And my first competition I did was in 2014. It was a Northern Classic and NPC show. Never took a posing class. I did my own meal plan, did my own workouts. And I think I placed 7th. And it was like Miss America on steroids. I had no idea what I was walking into, and it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
And then the last competition, which is the picture that you've shown, I got an opportunity to learn from that experience and kind of tweak, took some posing classes, learned from the best, and showed up and won that competition, won best poser overall, and was able to walk away feeling really proud of what I presented. So it was just really a goal. Like if I set something, I really kind of hyper focus and go get it. Yeah.
The one thing about it, I'm gonna say this because, this is how I feel. Growing up in the Hill, out of all the people that I think of, all the females, males that were in our circle,
Yeah.
The one person that I think that would be good at that would have been you. Like I couldn't really see anybody else doing it, but I definitely could see Zakiya doing it because you was just built like that.
And the funny thing, I know, and the thing about it is that looking back, like when we talk about what people need to hear, what people need to see, and that was a thing that though it was great, it was something I hated about myself. It was something that wasn't celebrated. It was something that I didn't see as beautiful. Like I hated that about myself. And so when I first walked into this posing class for the last competition, I was just like, that was the first time I was around people that were like, these are my people. Like they care about their food. They're like, counting calories, and we're all like all muscular, and it was just like beautiful, So, and so that person, even though it was great, at that time, there wasn't a lot of folks like me at that time, to look up to or to celebrate me being the way I was, because I definitely stood out. I was very different, and it wasn't something I worked for, was just how I was built, So, yeah.
That's so interesting too. Because I was like, dang, I want those legs. Dang, I want those abs.
Right.
I remember going to track, and you probably don't remember this, but I do. When I was in high school, I ran track too, and I remember going to a competition, and you was there, and you was competing against obviously all the other. I think it was like a jamboree or whatnot.
Right.
And you was there, and I was watching. I was like, "Damn, Zakiya still got it."
Hey.
Yeah, she was getting it. I still remember, man. Like,
still was getting it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though, because I cheerleaded, right? And so when I went to when I tried out for cheerleading at Lincoln, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go there. Mind you, I love their cheerleaders. Horrible reason to want to go somewhere, but I love them. And so I tried out for cheerleading. One of the coaches was the football coach. And his comment to me was, why are you cheerleading? You should come play football, And it was just like, to me in that moment, as a 15-year-old girl, that's not what you want to hear. You know what I mean? So that was something that kind of only magnified the things that I didn't like about myself, instead of being celebrated. Like, you don't need to be putting on a cheerleading skirt, thank you.
Be a lady.
I mean, labels and words are powerful.
So let's jump into that real quick, because I mean, you've touched on it a couple times. How much did you struggle with that idea that my body, the way that I look, isn't like every other person that I'm around? And how much did you struggle with that?
Oh, I struggled with it quite a bit. It wasn't until probably I hit like my late 20s when I really started celebrating myself. And I thank God for Serena Williams, who was one of my favorite athletes, because I was like, that's someone I can that's being celebrated that represents me. That was the first athlete that I could say represented myself, and was celebrated. Even though she still isn't, you know what I mean? Like there's still some things that people say just because of, how she's built. But I definitely struggled with it quite a bit. I mean, growing up, there's the colorism thing that was a part of my, growing up. And then of course being athletic, being called I remember folks would mistake say, oh, are you gay? And it's like, why does that have to be a part of my narrative because I like sports or because I'm athletic or because I don't, dress a certain way. So it was just interesting how you're kind of forced to navigate these different, different narratives and then still try to hold true to what you know to be true about yourself. So yeah, it was quite a struggle, to be honest.
Did you have to deal with any people like bullying you because of the way you look, or because they call you quote unquote a tomboy or whatnot because you're doing all these sports or anything like that? Did you have to deal with that at all?
I would say yes. Technically, as far as what bullying is, I would say, yeah, I definitely had, those folks that would say things that probably weren't nice and pretty negative and could be hurtful. And I thank God for it today, because I'm like, I stopped worrying about what people said a long time ago, like it really helps build a thick skin and just not care, and really just learn to celebrate me regardless of what people think and say. Yeah, but definitely there was a lot of that, a lot of negativity, and then later find out like it was only because of I was a threat, and I never would have thought that at that time. But in retrospect, you kind of realize, oh, there was something else there. But when you're 14, 12, 13, that's not what you think. So yeah.
Understood. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what drives Zakiya today. What's your main focus? I mean, obviously your kids are going to be obviously priority, but right. What else drives you today?
What drives me today is that I get to. I think what drives me today is the fact that I get to get up, that I get to show up, that I get to have a voice. It's like I think about all the folks who have similar experiences or similar paths. I mean, I had many struggles and many things that folks did not get to walk away from happen to me. And it's just like, I get to be present. I get to have a sane mind, and that's a motivator for me. It's kind of for those folks that don't get to do that. And so I think about that. I think about the people coming behind me. I think about, the girls who were like me, who need to see me, who need to know that they have options, and that, what's in front of them or what they see is not all that there is. And so I think those are things that motivate me. Yes, aside from my boys. I remember the first time my son looked at me and was like, I recognize that what I did affected him and the choices that I made. And so it just kind of was also that, like, I think back to myself as a 5-year-old and the things that I remember and the things that folks don't really think that you remember and the effect that it has. And so those things all motivate me today, to be quite honest. I think what I do, I always say, if I win, we win. My wins are for everybody, which is why I'm so big on like bringing people along. What can I do? If you're not in the room, I'm gonna make sure that if something benefits you, I'm bringing your name up, those type of things. So yeah, it's not just about me. That's what I remember.
Okay, let's talk about, because you said you've been working in nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, I'm looking at, is it Shira movement?
The Chaya movement. Yay. So the Chaya movement is not a nonprofit though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit me to the game then. Get me hip to the game.
So the Chaya movement is just a passion project. It started from my love for fashion and recreating fashion. I've been very big on just kind of recycling and repurposing things. And so I launched a business in 2016 that focused on just curating vintage clothing and quality pre-owned and reselling it in collaboration with the work I was doing at the time, which was focused on workforce. And so I was at the time teaching for Seattle colleges, women transitioning from different paths, whether it was incarceration, DV, homelessness, and it was a job readiness class. And so this job readiness class, as women were, growing and learning and getting ready to enter the workforce, it was like, wait a second, what are they going to wear, to these interviews? And so from that birthed a clothing closet. But I also had this other passion for how can I fund and source this passion project of a clothing closet. And so I launched my business, which was just really to resell and curate pre-owned pieces while also putting aside things that would benefit these women, which were, suits and slacks and the things you would wear to interview. So from the Chaya movement became a little bit more. I started recognizing the impact of fashion on the environment, how wasteful we are as a community and as a society, and then started educating folks and doing workshops, and have actually partnered with the City of Federal Way to host events. Actually have one coming up in November, which is a clothing swap. So just started educating people on why it's important to repurpose and to buy recycled fashion. And so that just kind of became the movement of, let's not just buy fashion, but let's think about how we can also repurpose it and recycle it and be more conscious consumers and be more mindful about what we do with things when we're done with it.
Okay, see, I didn't know about that. I gotta get
this is one of my pieces. It's a recycled piece. So this is
see, there you go. There you go, right there. Hey, for those that are listening, Sky Movement, Zakiya, make sure you guys hit it. I need to get all the information. I'm gonna put it in the comments for the people because I'm sure everybody wants to know how they can be involved.
So let me just share this other piece about the Chaya Movement. So I have a whole clothing line, which was all recycled fashion, but also I have sunglasses that are recycled materials. So they're made out of recycled plastic, bamboo, and those are available for sale, not only on my website, but I have them in a store in Seattle called Sassafras. And so they're sold there as well. And I'm always looking to collaborate and partner and sell they're kind of higher end, but they're dope. So yeah.
Hey, look at you. Look at you. I didn't even know it was going down like that. You keeping some secrets, girl. You better not
Hey, I just move. Like, I mean, you ready. That's why I say catch me if you can. Like, I just be, if you want to talk, let's talk and move. We got to be moving while we talking.
This is one hat. We're talking about one. She got one hat over here that she just been waiting to let loose. And then I know about this hat and this hat. And so let's get back into, let's talk about your nonprofit, nonprofit.
Okay, let's get there now.
Tell us a little something.
Okay, so on the nonprofit side, again, it was about 10 years ago when I started working in workforce and really working with folks transitioning from incarceration, and I landed with an entity that I do subcontract work with now called Arms Around You. So Arms Around You is a reentry entity. So they focus on working with folks as they transition out of incarceration, helping with connecting to resources in the community, mentorship. We also have a women's house that's a transitional house in Seattle. So that's contract work that I do with them. So helping doing consulting for program development, communication, social media. So I do that for them. And then who I work for full time is Mary's Place. And if you're not familiar with Mary's Place in Seattle, we are the largest shelter provider for women and families in King County. And so I do talent acquisition for them full time. So that is what funds and helps me stay afloat, aside from the other things. But I really love the work that I do there. I started out there running employment services for them and had a team of folks that were working with folks in shelter, helping them connect to jobs and develop skills, and then moved into HR recently. And so now I'm doing all of the recruiting and talent acquisition and hiring. And so I have 20 positions right now. I love being the gatekeeper and being able to help folks. Still, I'm able to, be that connector and really develop talent, but also, help folks see where they can fit in our organization. And we have everything from frontline shelter staff to administrative to IT. I'm hiring for quite a bit right now. So that is what I do for Mary's Place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You got big shoes. You're doing big things, girl.
I'm juggling.
And then on top of that, you're running these get-togethers every once in a while where you have people come and meet you at different parks or schools and work out and
You know what I think about when I think about like holistic working with individuals and working with people, it's like we can connect people to jobs, we can connect you to housing, we can connect you to all these things. But at the end of the day, like wellness is not, it shouldn't be a luxury. Wellness is for everybody. And I think that's the thing. It's something I'm passionate about, but I also recognize that in our community, it's not something that we see as accessible. And it is, like it's something we can do. We just have to show up sometimes. And so I think just being able to provide a space and opportunity for folks to show up and not have to worry about, cost or hey, it's like bring your kids. It's, let's just walk. When you think about like these entities like Girl Trek and these different movements, it's like it's just so important to recognize that we're worthy of it. We can access it. We can do it. And it is a passion of mine. It's a lifestyle, but it's something that I don't want it to be just for me and just for folks that can pay for training and pay for an hour to work out. Yeah. It's something that we all should be able to take advantage of.
Are you fitness spaces now, or are you doing your own solo dolo thing?
I do my own solo dolo. I definitely have been contacted, by a few entities. Oh, yeah. But I think at this time, I always said like my retirement job is going to be, I'm going to be like a jazzercise instructor with my leg warmers and little weights. But yeah, I just do my own thing right now. I do have a couple of folks that I work with one-on-one because that's all I have capacity for. Really, do I have capacity for it? But, it's what I make time for because it's important. But yeah, no, I'm not working with anyone exclusively. I'm not contracted by a gym. It's really just, things I do on my own and put together and just ask folks to show up. It's going to look a little different now that it's getting cold and, the winter's here or the fall is here, not even winter, but you know how we do. We go from summer to like winter. Yeah.
I
so
do appreciate that you're doing that though, because that's kind of one of the things that I was doing at the beginning of this year. I was kind of doing the same thing, just like saying, hey, come out, let's go for a walk or let's exercise together, whatever, what I'm saying. And now I've kind of put that back a little bit because I've been focusing on this and, work has gotten picked up a little bit. And so I just you just don't have the time for everything. As much as you want to, you just don't have it. And so, like I'm every Monday, everybody knows any Monday you can meet me down at the waterfront. I'll be there 10 a.m. Anybody want to meet me? Everybody knows.
Yeah, just show up.
That's it. Just show up. Whatever you want to do, we can run, we can walk, whatever the case may be, I'm there.
Right.
But some of those days during the week, I'll be like, shoot, I'm not really trying to do it. And then I wake up and then I see you. We're going to be here at this time with a big old smile on your face. Come on, let's go. I'm like, dang.
And I keep that smile while we're sweating, while I'm kicking your butt. Yep. My clients will be like, girl, you make it. What did she say? You killing me with a smile. And it's like, yeah, go ahead and do them lunges. Get deep. Come on.
I'm like, all right, I got to get up. Okay, let me get out of bed. That's one.
And I'll be clapping, we dancing. Yes, get it.
But that's amazing. I didn't realize how busy some people are, you know what I'm saying? Because I think I'm busy, but man, you are doing so much and so much good in every facet of what you're doing. It's amazing. I commend you for.
Thank you.
For all that you're doing. I mean, the nonprofit thing is huge. Like that's a passion for me, and I love helping people. And and everything that you were doing is like it just really touches you. It really makes you want to be more involved. And just appreciate that there are good people out here that are still striving to do good things for those that could really use a little bit of a boost, a little bit of help and whatnot.
For sure.
So
for sure.
I appreciate that for sure. So let me ask you, I got a couple scenario questions.
Oh, Lord.
I told you I had a couple questions for you. So there are a couple scenario questions, no pressure. I don't even know what these are. I don't know. My girl wrote them for me.
Oh
hey,
God.
I say, hey, I need 2 scenario questions. Write them down for me and then give them to
Okay.
me. You just gave them to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and read them to you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Question 1, it says, if a teenager or a child approached you that has been struggling with the many health issues, insecurities, and overall hardships of being overweight. Let's see. Determined to do the work to become healthy and fit. However, they nor their parents have the means to pay for a trainer. How would you handle that situation?
So if a teenager came to me who was overweight,
Right.
parents did not have the money to pay for help or support,
Any assistance? Yeah.
how would I handle that? Well, first of all, I would affirm the teenager as they are, recognizing how much pressure is already on them. Let them know, that they're beautiful, that they're worthy. Because I don't know what narratives have been spoken to this teenager, and I think that's kind of where I always start. And I'm one who I would have a conversation, to be honest, just to really know mentally where they are, how they feel about themselves, because it may be something. It's usually deeper than let's just go get a workout. That's the easy part. Like let's see what other things are going on there. And I know my limitations, to be quite honest. Like I can take you through a great workout, but I'm not a mental health therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not that, or a professional in that area. So I would have a conversation to see where they are and really connect them to some resources that will benefit them aside from just the workout. So I would look at, where they go to school, what community are they in, what resources are there available to them, that they can access, that doesn't cost. That may be something available at school. That may be something available in the community. Another nonprofit that can benefit this individual, because I want to see them succeed. And sometimes success is not going to come from me supporting or me being the person that they contact with, or that I'm working with them one-on-one. I know my limitations. So I would see where they are and then see what resources are out there and connect them to the right resource.
Good. All right, let's go. Question 2 says, if one of your children were to develop an eating disorder or adopted negative habits as a result of insecurities about their figure, how would you, as a mother and a fitness health instructor, approach helping them overcome it?
Probably a similar approach. Actually, did develop an eating disorder in my adult life, and so again, I would have a conversation and affirm them, and not at least try to hear where they are, what's happening, the why if I can. But again, this is beyond me as a parent and my professional, knowledge and wisdom. And I would seek outside help to help my child, to be honest. Like we're going to go talk to somebody, find some professionals that can help. But again, reminding them, I think it really helps to hear them, to listen. Kids want to be heard. They want to be understood, and recognizing, just how much of that I needed. I'm really good at putting myself, going back to my 12-year-old self, just because, we can do that when trauma happens and PTSD and all of those things. You can go back to those spaces and that mentality. And I would, I would hear, I would listen, I would see what's going on, and we would go get the help needed that's outside of our household. I'm big on therapy and therapists, and let's get those professionals in here to help.
Amazing. Good answer. So I got another one myself.
Okay.
So if I was to say, trust your purpose, what does that mean to you? Yeah.
That is heavy because I am in that season right now where my purpose,
Yeah.
my purpose is trust my purpose. What would that mean to me? That would mean I would be taking a big leap of faith and pursuing some things that I have put on the shelf, to be honest, and pursuing my passion has always been people and seeing people win, and finding and pulling out gifts and strengths that they don't see in themselves and making it marketable so they can go out and be their best self, whether that's going to get a job or start a business or whatever that is. And so purpose in that is really me like stepping outside from behind the scenes and doing something that I've had dreams about and just haven't done, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
I like doing that for other, like, I'm at Mary's place. I can do that through Mary's place, or I'm at this other entity and I can do it through them. But it's really taking that leap of faith and saying, I'm going to lead my own entity that focuses on, that same line of work. But yeah, just doing it through Zakiya. But yeah, I believe that's some of the purpose that I have for sure.
Well, I just wanted to question that last one was just a question. Throw your curveball in there, but you passed it. You passed it. Good job. So, I mean, we've gone through all the questions that I have for you. You've done a wonderful job. Do you have anything that you would like to ask me since we're coming to the end of the interview?
Um, Something I'd like to ask you. So
You can say no.
I'm like, do I? I mean, I'm sure I do if I really think. I guess I would like to know circle talk. Maybe just if you could share, like, what you hope, like, what is it that you hope to bring to the community with circle talk? Like, what is the big vision for this and for what you're doing?
Okay, well, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So when this whole idea of revamping myself came about, it started with a coming to God moment. Obviously, I'm really big on my faith. And before I gave my life back to God, I was about me.
Mm-hmm.
I put me before anybody, put me before my family, me before my kids, me before my friends. And when I gave my life back to God, I really realized that I needed to change that. There's so many amazing people in this world doing amazing things. And I wanted to highlight those people and put them first and share their stories and the things that they're doing and not just do it in a way to where, you know, a few people can hear it. I want the whole world to hear it and see it. And so when I came up with this whole idea, there was a few people that were doing these whole podcast things, but they were doing it differently. Like some people were highlighting people doing stuff outside, fixing, um, uh, growing crops or whatnot, whatever the case may be. They had all these different types of podcasts that I had watched, and I thought about it, and one day I was like, well, that's what I want to do. I want to I want to bring these people online, and not just online, but on on any platform where I could possibly share their story, share their knowledge, share their history with the things that are going on in the world, and and maybe help someone.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, something that you may have said might be able to help someone else. Talking about their lives and the things that they went through, or if somebody's going through the same situation that you went through in high school, they have an opportunity to hear it. That's what
Yeah.
talk is about. It's about trying to share great people doing great things in the communities here and around us, in hopes that just maybe somebody will get something out of it, benefit them in whatever it is that they're doing in their lives. So that's really where it all transpired. It was me wanting to do something different for not only myself but for others. And instead of putting people below me, I sit back and I share the good news that you guys have, and the stories that you guys are 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 bringing to the forefront, in hopes that people will jump on and support and acknowledge. Yo, Zakiya is an amazing person.
Right.
I want to know more about her, or I want to support her movement, or what I'm saying, I want to find out how I can get involved in her job, uh, uh, and what she's doing. She's hiring people, all that type of stuff. That's what I want to do. I want to try and be that middleman to,
Gotcha.
you know what I'm saying? So that's it in a nutshell. Just just highlighting great people doing great things, and you know, being
Dope.
a connection, being a
So
connection.
so who do you want to interview or have a conversation with that you haven't? Is there anybody on that list? Let's
Um,
manifest
Anybody on the list that I have not interviewed that
that
I've
you
been
want,
trying to,
that you've been trying to, or you're like, I would love to have a conversation with that person.
and I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna say this because I can, but I would love to have an interview with Tawana Nobles. Because I sent her invite, but she has all these connections now that you have these loops you have to go through, loopholes, in order to get to her, and so we just haven't crossed paths yet. But Tawana Nobles would be a huge, um, you know, ding. I'd be happy to interview her, and
Have you had her? Have you met her?
I've never met her, never met her, never talked to her before. I know we're friends on Facebook, we're friends on Instagram, but as far as us meeting, or having any type of conversation, we talked maybe once or twice on Facebook, through Messenger, but that's about it. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, her and maybe Victoria Woodards. I mean, I met her last year during the Juneteenth
Right.
celebration and whatnot, and great person. She definitely would be somebody I'd be interested in interviewing as well. So, just local. Those are just local people. There's so many people that I have on my list that I want to go through, but I've been blessed to have interviewed some amazing people,
Yeah.
including yourself, and I'm excited for what's to come. Because I got some people lined up that I'm excited to talk to. I actually, yeah, next month's gonna be interesting because
I'm excited for you.
I got a few
And
people you may know.
okay. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
pay attention. I'll be
yeah,
paying attention.
I mean, and the thing about Circle Talk is, just for me, I don't want people to get the idea that it's just a local thing. For me, I want it to be more of a national. I want to hit as many people as I can across the country, across the
Yeah.
world. And so that's the great thing about this is, the sky's the limit. I'm just like you have so many hats. I have a few hats as well. I'm into the fitness thing. I'm definitely in those streets helping the less fortunate. I love doing that. That's my passion. That's one of the things that drive me. I have kids that are in school, so I definitely have a lot, a lot of options there. And then
Right.
I sing. I'm a musician, and so I meet a lot of different people online when it comes to music that I have been getting in contact with and stuff. And so yeah, I got a lot of options, and we'll see where it goes though. I'm
Nice.
just enjoying the drive and enjoying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a couple. Like, I
You
have
want
some
hey,
folks you need to talk to.
send them. Hey, send them to me. Let me know. You know what it is. If they doing something great in the community, and that's the one thing that I try to stress. If anybody is watching, please, if you guys know somebody that's doing amazing work and striving to better our communities, send me a copy of their information, and I will get in contact with them. I am not afraid to interview someone I don't know. That's why I do this, because I want to know people. I want to learn
Right.
these people. You know, I want to get to know him. Maybe we can connect and do some work together. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
just hit me in my inbox. Y'all got my info. Y'all know what it is. Let's make it happen. I would love to interview some people that aren't on my list. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do
So
it.
hey, I mean, man, we're officially at an hour. Well, we're about 3 minutes,
Almost there.
2 minutes,
Almost there.
2 minutes out of an hour.
Okay.
But this has been a great interview. Thank you so much, Zakiya, for doing this. I know it was a last minute thing, but you're an amazing person, and I'm so excited for what's to come. What you got? You got anything planned for the end of 2022 that we should know about?
Well, as I mentioned, I am very blessed to be able, through my work with the Chai movement, work with municipalities. And so City of Federal Way, I'll be collaborating with to host a recycling event. And it's a clothing swap, which is what we do, which I'm able to do. I've hosted them once a year for the past about 5 years. And this will be the second one that I've hosted in 2021. And so it is a clothing swap. It's an opportunity for folks to get rid of clothing in a socially and economically and environmentally responsible way. So we're able to either use those clothings. People bring clothes, we hang them up, put them on racks if they're wearable and still in good condition. Otherwise, they'll be recycled. So it's just another way to get rid of things responsibly, and then it gives opportunity people from the community to come and basically get clothes for free. So it's a swap. You bring clothes that you don't want, you leave with clothes that you do want. And that's happening in November in collaboration with City of Federal Way, the South Sound Tool Library, and it's happening here in Federal Way. And so that is what I have happening 2021. I just hosted a small pop-up event, and I plan to do another one towards the end of the year. Looking for a space. So if anyone has a commercial space, retail space that is available for us to be able to celebrate Black creatives. I love bringing people together. I love giving people an opportunity to showcase their talents and their work. And so this would be a great way for you to not only promote your business or your space, but also an opportunity to bring folks in and let them sell what they have or what they've created, or promote their small business. And planning to do another one of those by the probably towards the holiday December timeframe. And it'll either be in Seattle or Tacoma. The last one I did was in Seattle.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good. Hey, I need to get all the information.
Yes.
Post it in the comments for the people.
Okay.
But I'm excited. If you need somebody to come and just run their mouth and interview people, let me know.
I was trying to get you for the last one. It would have been great, but we'll get you for the next one.
Hey, but that was like last minute though. If I could have made it.
Came to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that would have been amazing.
I told you I would have made it if it wasn't so last minute. I would have came through, but
I thought about it late. I was like, I thought about it. It hit me. I'm visionary, so it'll hit me, and I'm like, oh.
We'll make it happen though. Now that I know, let's plan it. We're gonna plan it out.
Okay.
All right.
Well, anybody out there, you got a space? Let's talk.
Yes. All right, guys. So thank you so much for viewing. Appreciate all the love and support that you guys continue to give us here at Circle Talk. On behalf of myself, we got Zakiya Nicole in the building. Thank you so much again for the interview. It's been amazing. We'll talk to you guys next week. We're going to be with Lynetta Cunningham.
Oh.
So watch out for that one. She bears all next week. This is her second interview, and she wanted to come back and share her real story. So you guys definitely listen in. It's going to be a heartfelt one. So we'll see you guys next week. Y'all be blessed. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
Bye.